Good morning. This is Muhammad Suleiman, Assistant Professor of Commerce working at MVS Government Degree College Autonomous, Mahbub Nagar. Today, let us learn Director of a company. The process of management of companies is highly important as the company is an artificial person created by law, hence, it cannot function on its own. It has neither a mind nor a body of its own. Hence, it requires some human agency, some human effort which can take its activities and businesses further. Hence, the position of a director becomes very important. So, in this situation, let us learn today the position of a director of a company and various aspects related to it. So, let us see the objectives of today's lesson. In today's lesson, we will be learning the introduction part to the director of a company, the need which gives rise for appointment of a director in the company. Then we will see the meaning of a director. Then we will see the definition given by the Companies Act to the position of director. Then we will see how many maximum and minimum number of directors can be appointed in a company, and we will see the number of directors if exceeds than normal, what is the case. Then we will see the different types of directors, then the position of directors in the company, and qualifications of directors. A person who wants to be appointed as a director in the company, what qualification shall he possess? Now, as all of us know that company is a form of business which is established with the help of the capital contributed by various shareholders situated across the globe. Hence, company has a large number of shareholders running into lakhs or crores sometimes. So, if it is a sole proprietorship business, the owner himself will look after the business activities and he will involve actively in the business activities and is responsible for the profits or losses that he earns. In case of partnerships, all the partners who are actively engaged in the business activities or who are actively engaged in the functioning of the partnership firm will be responsible or will take charge of different activities. But in case of companies, the situation is different. As discussed earlier, also, the company is an artificial person created in the eyes of law and cannot act by itself. It cannot take its own decisions because it is an artificial person and it does not have a mind or a body of its own. Hence, some human energy or some human brain is required for taking up the activities of companies. Here, we talk about the need of a director to the company. The person by whom the business of the company is carried out shall be termed as the director. A director is a person who will provide the direction to the activities of the company. Without a director, the activities of the company cannot be taken forward. Hence, the institution of the company is mainly categorized into two broad parts. That is one, the shareholders on one side and the board of directors on the other side. Shareholders are those persons who have contributed their money for the purpose of starting the company, and the board of directors are those persons who will take forward the business of the company according to its objectives. Hence, the board of directors or the management of the company becomes important, and the position of director becomes important here. And all the directors have a duty to exercise due care, diligence, and skill in discharging or while discharging their functions. Now, let us move further and see what is the meaning of a director. As the term itself is self explanatory, a director includes any person occupying the position of director by whatever name called. In some situations, a director is called as full-time director. In some situations, a director is called as alternate director. In some situations, a director is called as uh, managing director, and in sometimes it is called as alternate director. But whatever name is called, it is immaterial. But it is the person who is occupying the position of director in the company. If you take, for example, if Mr. X is appointed as director of the company, then Mr. X will be called as director of the company, and he will be responsible for taking the decisions in the company. Hence, directors can exercise their power according to the appointment. Now, let us move further and we'll let us see that it is the directors or the board of director who will formulate the policies of the company. So, directors can exercise power only when they act collectively. And it is important to note that an individual director has no authority to act on behalf of the company unless he is authorized to do so by the articles of association of the company and a special resolution given by the shareholders in some situations. Hence, the director is a person who occupies the position of director by whatever name called in the company. Now, let us move further and see the definition of director according to the Companies Act. The Companies Act 2013 clearly specifies the definition of director as a director means a director appointed to the board of a company by whatever name called, but he is a person who is appointed to the board of the company. So it is important to note here that no body corporate or association or a firm shall be appointed as a director of a company, and it is only the individual who can be appointed as director of the company, because it is the position which is having some office of trust, and only an individual person can exercise this power. Only an individual person can uh, exercise due care and diligence, and it cannot be assigned or it cannot be transferred to a body of individuals or corporates. Hence, an individual only is responsible for his activities. In this situation, a director is a person, or a director means a director appointed to the board of a company as per the section 2 of 34 of the Companies Act. Now let us move further and see the number of directors that a company can have. The number of directors, the minimum number and the maximum number of directors that a company can have on its board of management. If we see, there are three types of companies functioning nowadays. One is public company, one is private company, and the other one is one person company. So if we see, the minimum number of directors required in case of public company is 3, and the minimum number of directors required in case of a private company is 2, and the minimum number of directors required in case of one person company is 1. Now let us go to the maximum number of directors. The maximum number of directors in case of public company is 15, In case of private company also it is 15. In case of one person company also the maximum number of directors is 15. Assume a situation wherein a company wants to appoint more directors than 15. Then in such a case, any company, either public company, private company, or one person company shall pass a special resolution explaining the reason for which more number of directors are required, and it shall be submitted to the central government for approval, and after the approval is granted by the central government, the company can have more than 15 directors on the board. Since the provision of minimum number of directors is mandatory, if a company fails to do so, the company shall be declared as invalid or non-functioning. Hence, the number of directors of a company, the minimum is 3 in case of public, 2 in case of private company, and 1 in case of one person company. And the maximum number of directors is 15 for all companies. It is important to note here that as per the Rule 3 of Companies Act, latest Companies Act, every company shall appoint at least one woman director, which is a listed company or which is having a paid share capital of 100 crores or more, or a turnover of 300 crores or more. This is a new provision according to the Companies Act, latest Companies Act, and rules of companies for the appointment of directors 2014. It requires that every company shall appoint one woman director, and the woman director shall be appointed compulsorily if the company is a listed company or any other public company which is having a paid up share capital of 100 crores. If the paid up share capital of the company is 100 crores, then it is essential or it is highly required that the company shall appoint one woman director. And in case of the sales turnover, the turnover of 300 crores or more will require to appoint a woman director in the company. So this is the position of directors, the number of directors that a company can have. Now let us move further and see what are the different types of directors that a company can appoint. The different types of directors that are present on the board of management of a company are different. Here, one type of classification is given. We can see the different types of directors of a company are ordinary directors, managing director, whole-time directors, additional directors, alternate director, professional directors, and nominee directors. This classification is not complete. Even if you refer some other book or some other source, you can have some other directors also. Now let us learn one by one what are the different types of directors that are appointed on the board of management of a company. Let us look first of all the ordinary directors. It is important to note here that all the categories of directors together constitute the board of a company. So all the directors put together, all 5, 6 or 7 types of directors when they are put together, they constitute the board of the company. Now let us go discussing one by one of different types of directors. Ordinary director is also referred to as a simple director who attends the meetings of the company. Whenever there is a board meeting, he will be given a call and he will attend the board meeting of the company, and he will participate in the discussion process wherein important decisions of the companies are taken. It is important to note that these directors are neither whole-time directors nor managing directors. So managing director is different. Hence, ordinary directors are not managing directors. And whole-time directors are also different. Hence, ordinary directors are not whole-time directors who will give full time to the company by looking into the business activities of the company. Hence, ordinary directors just attend the board meetings of the company and participates in the matters put before the board or agenda for discussion. Now let us discuss something about managing director. A managing director is a person who is entrusted with substantial powers of management of the affairs of the company, and he occupies a position of managing director by whatever name called. So, in simple terms, he is a person who, by virtue of articles of company or by a special resolution by the company, is entrusted with substantial powers. He is given a large number of powers for the management of the company to take decisions for betterment of the company. So, managing director enjoys substantial powers in the management of the company. In normal cases, he will be given a power to uh, sign on any certificate of the company or sign on the share certificate of the company, and he is responsible for the transfer of shares of the company, and he is entrusted with substantial powers. So substantial powers given to the managing director are given by the special resolution or articles of the company. In some situations, the managing directors will be given some special powers as discussed and resolved in the special meetings of the company or general meetings of the company. Hence, it is important to note that managing director is given some substantial powers in the management of the company. Now, let us move further to whole-time directors. Whole-time director are sometimes called as executive directors. In some companies, the name is called executive director, and in some companies, it is called whole-time directors. So, whole-time directors or executive directors are giving full time to the management of the company. So, in other words, the whole-time director is in the whole-time employment of the company. So he will give full time to the company, and he will take active participation in the discussions of the company, and he will take his role. He will put forward his opinion, and he will put forward its suggestions for the management of the company. Hence, he gives full time to the management of the company, and he will actively participate in various decision making processes. Hence, a whole-time director is called as a director who is in whole-time employment of the company. For example, a person called Mr. A is appointed as whole-time director. He is expected to turn to the office every day, and he is expected to take a part in the decisions taken up by the company. Hence, whole-time director is in the employment of the company. Then one more type of director is called additional directors. Additional directors are appointed by the board under section 161 of the Companies Act 2013. Now let us learn the necessity which gives a rise for the appointment of additional directors. Additional directors are appointed subject to the provisions of articles of associations of the company, which falls the period between the two annual general meetings. If the position of a director is vacant and the annual general meeting has not happened, the annual general meeting is due. So the board, by exercising the powers under section 161, can appoint one additional director, and the additional director will hold the office only up to the date of conduct of next annual general meeting. So on the date of next annual general meeting, the office term of the additional director comes to an end, and the number of additional directors appointed to the company shall not exceed the maximum strength fixed by the board by the articles. So if a company includes in its articles that the number of additional directors in a company shall be two, then in such a situation, the board cannot appoint the additional directors more than two. If the company in its articles mentions that the additional director can be one, then the board can appoint the additional director only one person. But it is important to note that the additional director is appointed only between the conduct of two annual general meetings. Now, moving further, let us learn about alternate director. The appointment of alternate director is also mentioned in the section 161 of the Companies Act 2013. Now, let us learn the situation in which the appointment of an alternate director arises. Normally, some companies will have directors who are non-resident Indians also, or subsequently to the appointment of the position of directors, a person is abroad. So, in such a case, whenever there is a requirement, whenever there is a need, whenever there is a demand for attending the meeting, if the person who is the original director cannot come or cannot attend the meeting, then his absence will be a problem to the meetings of the board of the company. In such a situation, according to the provisions of section 161 of the Companies Act 2013, an alternate director can be appointed. So an alternate director is a person who is appointed in place of the original director during his absence, and the condition says that the absence shall not be for a period of not less than 3 months from India. Say, for example, a director is abroad in some other country on some other activity. Now, let us see the alternate director. So, according to the section 161 of the Companies Act 2013, the alternate director can be appointed in a particular situation or special situation wherein the original director who has been appointed is not present in India to attend the meetings. Say, for example, there may be some non resident Indians also. A person who is appointed as the director of the company is abroad, is visiting some other country and not present in the country for more than 3 months. Let us assume a person called Mr. M is appointed as director of the company, but he is not present in India for more than 3 months. Let us say, for example, 4 months. Then, in such a case, what will happen is whenever there is a meeting, he is supposed to attend the meeting. When he is absent from the meeting, then the position of director will be vacant. To overcome such situation, the provisions of section 161 of the Companies Act 2013 provide an opportunity, give a provision for appointment of alternate director in the place of original director. So it is important to note that alternate director is a director appointed in place of the original director who is non-resident India or who is abroad for more than 3 months and who cannot attend the meeting whenever the meeting is scheduled. This type of situation arises whenever there is an appointment of a non-resident Indian director, or whenever there is an appointment of a director from foreign collaboration of the company. Let us assume a company has got foreign collaboration from a foreign country. Then the foreign collaborator will also have one director to have his representation on the board of management of the company. But in some situations, it is difficult, or it may be difficult for the director appointed on behalf of foreign collaborator of the company. In such a case, an alternate director can be appointed on behalf of the foreign collaborator who will attend the meetings of the company. So this is the uh, provision in which an alternate director of a company can be appointed. Now let us see the appointment of some professional directors. So professional directors are those directors who possess some professional qualification and sometimes may not have any interest in the company. So sometimes they may not have any interest in or stake in the company, but on the base of the qualification, on the base of the professional background, they are appointed in the company, and those directors are called professional directors. It is common in big size companies or large companies where sometimes the board appoint uh, the professionals as directors in order to take their expert advice in the management of the company. They give their expert advice in the management of the company because of their professional background. Take, for example, a chartered accountant or a company secretary or a constant management accountant who is having some professional background, and the board feels that the services of such professional can be utilized for the betterment or for taking better decisions in the company, then the board can appoint one professional director in the management of the company. Normally, every big company will have one professional director. Then let us see the nominee directors. Sometimes banks and financial institutions give financial assistance to the company, and they impose a condition that they will have one representative on the board of the company concerned. For example, a bank has given a huge loan to a company. So in order to ensure that the financial assistance given to the company is properly utilized, the loan given to the company is properly uh, used for the purpose it has taken, and it has been taken, and in order to have a watch on the financial transactions of the company, some banks and financial institutions put one condition to the companies to appoint one nominee director from their side. So, in such a case, the director appointed on such condition is called nominee director, who will be normally representing the bank or financial institution from which they are. So this is the appointment of nominee directors. Apart from this classification, there are some other directors called independent directors. Section 2 of 47 of the Companies Act will provide the provisions for appointment of independent director with some powers. And apart from this, there are some other positions which a company has to be appointed as small shareholders directors, etc. But all those directors shall be appointed only according to the provisions of the Companies Act. Having known the types of directors, now let us move further and see what is the position of director in a company. It is important to note that, as discussed earlier also, the management affairs of the company are taken up by the directors only, because company being an artificial person cannot take its own decisions. So in such a case, it is the directors who will take the decisions of the company, and will be responsible for the activities or the decisions taken by them. Hence, in one word, it can be said that the position of the directors in a company has got very big role and responsibility. And Sometimes directors represent the company in the form of trustees. Sometimes directors represent the company in the form of agents. And sometimes the directors represent the company in the form of officers. And sometimes the directors represent the company in the form of employees. And sometimes the directors represent the company in the form of managing partners. Hence, the director position in the company is very much important, and on a overall basis, it can be said that the position of a director of a company is very important because he will be playing different types of roles according to the situation and the demand. So, apart from all these things, if we see, director will has different roles in the company. The first role is a director as an agent, and a director as trustees, and directors as officers in the company, and directors as employees, and directors as managing partners. So now let us have some short discussion on one by one. Now let us see how directors are agents to the company. As discussed earlier also, the company being an artificial person cannot act on its own because it is not a natural person, it is an artificial person. Hence, it requires somebody, hence, it requires someone who can act on its behalf. So, for that purpose, the directors are called the agents of the company because directors are agents of the company in the eyes of law. The general principle of law of agency is applicable to the company and its directors. So the director position is termed as the agent position, and it is ruled in many cases also. Whenever the company acts through its directors, the company is responsible in the law of principal and agent. So if the company is principal, director is its agent, and the agent is liable, and the company is also liable. Whenever there is a liability, the decisions taken by the directors as an agent would also be reviewed. Hence, when the directors make the decisions on behalf of the company, they are called agents of the company. In case of the directors functioning as trustees, in some situations, a director is also termed as trustee of the company. So here we should know the meaning of the term called trustee. If we see the meaning of the trustee, a trustee is a person who is the owner of the property, deals with it as principal, as owner, and a master, subject only to an equitable obligation to account to some person to whom he stands in relation of trustee. So, in simple terms, he will discharge his responsibilities in the position of a trustee because the company will have a property, and directors are accountable for managing the property. As the management of the company is put in the hands of directors, the directors are responsible for proper use of the assets, of the funds available in the company, and of the uh, company's property which it has, and any misapplication and breach of trust will be dealt as per the law properly. Hence, the role of directors as trustees is important. Now, sometimes the company's directors are called officers of the company. Under Section 2 of 59 of the Companies Act, the directors are liable for certain penalties if they do not follow the provisions of the Companies Act. Hence, a director may not be in a position to uh, say that he is not responsible on the activities or on the decisions he has taken, because he is liable for his own actions, and he is termed as the officer of the company. And sometimes directors are also called as employees of the company. Now we might get a question that how a director can become employee of the company. Here we have to uh, remember that a director, besides being a director, who is also in service or employment of the company and represent the company in the position of a secretary or the manager or otherwise, will be equally treated as an employee because he is paid. So, in such a situation, the director holds many positions or roles which he plays in the outside world. So, in such a situation, the director is also termed as the employee of the company. Then, the director in the position of managing partners. So, if we see the partners of a firm act on the principle of mutual trust or mutual agency, same is the case, but the director has no authority to bind other directors and shareholders. Hence, the directors will act as managing partners in some situations. However, in some situations, a director has no authority to bind the other directors and shareholders, but in normal circumstances, directors are described as trustees, agents, or managing partners, and the outside world will treat the directors as the managing partners. Having known the position of directors, let us move further and see what are the qualifications of a director. If a person wants to become a director in a company or director in one particular company, what is the qualification that he or she should possess? Now let us see one by one, as it is an important position in a company. The first and foremost qualification that a person should have is a director, or a person who is intended to be appointed as director should be a person of unsound mind. So, unsound mind means a person shall not be a lunatic, a person shall not be a person of insane mind, a person should not be having some mental decay, or a person is not suffering from any problem which will affect his thinking and which will not allow him to take a rational decision. So all such persons who does not have unsound mind are not allowed to be directors of the company. It will be a disqualification. Hence, a person who is a director of a company should be having a sound mind. He should be in a position to decide what is good and what is bad. Hence, the person who is of a sound mind is eligible to be appointed as director of the company. Then, second one, a director must hold share qualification if the articles of association provides such condition. In some companies, this condition is put unless a person holds minimum number of shares, say for example 10,000 shares, or say for example 5,000 shares. A person holding such shares only can be appointed as director of the company. Otherwise, he cannot be appointed as director of the company. In such a case, the qualification criteria shall be met and it should be fulfilled for the purpose of appointment of director in such company. Otherwise, if there is no condition regarding the holding of minimum shares qualification in the company, any person who, even if he is not having even a single share in the company, can be appointed as director of the company. Then one more qualification that a person should have is he must be an individual. As discussed earlier also, a group of individuals or an association or a trust or a body of individual or an organization cannot be appointed as director of a company. Hence, a director must be an individual. A person called X can be appointed as director if he fulfills the other conditions. A person called Y can be appointed as director if he fulfills the other conditions. But a partnership firm or a company or a body corporate or an association or an agency cannot be appointed as a director, and the condition is a person only can be appointed as a director if he is an individual. Then the other qualification is a director should be a solvent person. A director should be a solvent person. Solvent person means he should not have been declared as insolvent in the earlier days, and he should not have committed any financial crimes. A director should be a solvent person means a person who is having a solvency position and who is not adjudged as insolvent by any authority or court of law. Now, here we need to discuss about what is insolvent. Whenever a person is unable to pay his debts, and whenever a person is not in a position to uh, repay his debts on account of the balances or the assets or properties that he has, he will not be in a position to clear all his debts, and in such a case he will file, or some other persons may file a suit against him for the recovery of the amount. In such a case, the person will be declared as insolvent by the appropriate authority or the court of law. Once the person is declared as insolvent, then he will not be a person who can be appointed as a director of a company. So the next important condition that a person, or the qualification that a person should have, is he should be a solvent person. Then one more qualification of a director is he should not have been convicted by any court of law for any offense. So a person should not have been convicted by any court of law for any kind of offense, and should not have been imposed imprisonment punishment on account of any charges proved against him. Hence, these are the qualifications. And apart from these things, there may be some more conditions or qualifications that a director should fulfill before the appointment of the before to the appointment of the position of director in the company. So these are qualifications. If any person who does not fulfill these conditions, then cannot be appointed as a director in the company, and it will term as disqualification to the company. Take for example, there is a person who is lunatic, or there is a person who is having some unsound mind, then he cannot be appointed as director to that particular company. Or any person who does not hold minimum qualification shares according to the articles of association of the company, then he cannot be appointed as director to the company. Or take for example any person who has been declared as insolvent, that will also become a disqualification on that person, and he cannot be appointed as a director in the company. Or take for example any person who is convicted by the court of law, and he applies or he is seeking for appointment of director of that company, then he cannot be appointed as director of the company. Hence, on total basis, it is important to note that the position of a director in a company is very important, because the company cannot function on its own, and the responsibility of taking important decision is entrusted on the whole management of the company, that is on the board of directors of the company. And board of directors comprise different directors like full-time director, alternate director, managing director, professional directors, and nominee director, who will take decision in moving the company forward according to the objectives. So it is important to note that the role of director is highly important in the management of the affairs of the company. Thank you.